Hello everyone, and welcome to another Calm XP video. Grab a snack, relax, and watch me play Fortnite Only Up while we talk about why nighttime feels emotionally different for your brain. If you're new around here, which you are, because I'm new around here, this is one of my first ever YouTube videos. Hopefully I can earn your like and maybe even your subscribe by the end of the video. So first off, researchers genuinely believe that the brain behaves differently at night. There's real neuroscience theory called the mind after midnight hypothesis. The basic idea is that the brain processes emotion, reward, and decision making differently during nighttime hours. So nighttime doesn't just feel different socially, your brain is literally operating differently. And importantly, this isn't only about sleep deprivation. Some people naturally feel more creative, calm, or focused at night. Night owls exist, late night thinkers exist. But even for people who naturally stay up late, nighttime still changes the environment your brain is operating in, and that change is creating a new emotional experience for you. One of the biggest reasons is actually sensory and social. At night, stimulation decreases. There are fewer notifications, less noise, less pressure, less movement, and neuroscience research shows that when external stimulation decreases, the brain shifts more toward internal thought processes and self-reflection. So when you're gaming alone at night, your brain is often operating in a much more reflective mode than it was during the daytime. And honestly, I think gaming becomes the perfect environment for that. Even especially games like Only Up on Fortnite, because the game is weirdly meditative. You're climbing, you're focusing, you're retrying, you're thinking, and repetitive gameplay loops like this can create something psychologists call a flow state, moments where people become more deeply immersed and lose track of time. Yes, that's actually a psychological thing, which honestly explains so much about late night gaming. You look at the clock thinking it's been 20 minutes and suddenly it's somehow tomorrow at 4 a.m. So scientifically, anytime I fall, it's really just my activated flight or fight response. You can thank my amygdala for that. But another reason that this is really interesting is researchers have found that darkness in nighttime environments can increase emotional sensitivity and introspection. Some researchers think this happens because darkness historically signaled uncertainty and vulnerability for humans. Our amygdala, that thing that controls fight or flight, that's prehistoric, that's from those humans. So even though modern humans are safe inside playing Fortnite, parts of the brain still associate nighttime with heightened awareness and emotional processing. And honestly, that explains why nighttime feels so cinematic sometimes. Like, why does listening to music at 1 a.m. suddenly sound like the soundtrack of your entire existence? And then it sounds like trash the next day. Gaming taps into that emotional immersion really well, especially games that involve repetition, exploration, progression, atmosphere, and Only Up weirdly has all of those. Because the entire game is basically keep climbing while emotionally recovering from failure. So late at night, the game starts feeling less like gameplay and more like a metaphor. And there's also research showing that blue light from screens affects alertness and circadian signaling. But I don't want to frame late night gaming as automatically unhealthy, because for a lot of people, nighttime gaming is genuinely relaxing and emotionally regulating. Research even shows gaming can help with stress relief, emotional recovery, and social connection. Nighttime amplifies those effects because nighttime naturally reduces outside demands. Gaming at night can feel emotionally safe. It becomes a ritual, a decompression space, a place where people stop performing for the world to see for a little while. And honestly, that's why late night gaming communities feel different too. People open more up at night. Conversations feel deeper, people vent more, people become more reflective, and psychologically that makes a lot of sense. Researchers consistently find that quieter nighttime environments increase introspection and emotional disclosure. So it's not random that some of the most emotionally honest conversations people have are at midnight or later. During daytime, it's easier to recover from emotional conversations, whereas nighttime things feel symbolic. One of my favorite ideas connected to this topic is that reduced external stimulation gives the brain more room for self-reflection. The world gets quieter and your brain has more room to think. Honestly, I think that's why games feel more meaningful at night. Not because the game has changed, but because your mental state has changed. So the next time nighttime feels emotionally different, you're not imagining it. There's real neuroscience behind why thoughts feel deeper, emotions feel louder, and why games feel more immersive after dark. Maybe that's why late night gaming feels so memorable. Sometimes climbing through a ridiculous Fortnite only up map at midnight isn't really about the game, and sometimes it's just one of the few moments where life slows down enough for people to actually hear themselves think. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.